Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Hey yo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the Rise of Grind Morning Show. It is Thursday, and we've got a little bit of an action-packed show for you guys this morning. We're going to get to the Lions 53-man roster predictions. We've got Lions news and rumors, of course, NFL news and rumors each and every single day, and that's what we're going to get into this morning. So we'll be right back here in about 30 seconds. Get it kicked off. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the Rise of Grind Morning Show.
Talking about the Lions, blue and silver pride with the podcast for rolling, take that ride. Rise and grind, Detroit's calling out. Football dreams in every shout. Tune in, feel the energy ignite. Rise and grind, take flight. Each play, each kick, we feel alive. Echoes in the city as the plans arrive. Heart of the motor, in this green, we're bound together by football dreams. Rise and grind, Detroit's calling out. Football dreams in every shout. Tune in, feel the energy ignite. Rise and grind, take flight. Hey, feel the unity, the proud electrified. Under the stadium lights, where legends thrive. Every touchdown we're close to Clark West. In Detroit we stand. Get down there. Rise and grind, Detroit's calling out. Football dreams in every shout. Tune in, feel the energy ignite. Rise and grind, take flight.
Uh-oh, what happened to Will?
No, we're back, man. We're back. I was just making sure we had everything set up there.
I was like, I'm by myself. What's going on?
No, you're good. We're good. It's Thursday. So I guess upcoming here soon, Eric's going to be off. Which days again?
Wednesdays and Fridays I'll be off because on
Wednesdays and
Tuesdays
Fridays.
and Thursdays I'm doing tours.
Yeah, so last year, I mean, Eric was really digging his heels in and showing up after being out till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and then hitting the morning show at 8 a.m. And that's tough. So we'd rather not have zombie content. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was literally
It's just
I
a
was
lot of
aware.
work. So
Yeah.
at least for the next few months, until your tours are over. So before the season, you'll be back. But so Wednesdays and Fridays, I'll either be solo or I'll fill in with somebody. So yesterday, man, great conversation with Corey Besh. I started doing clips yesterday of his content, and I got to tell you, man, out of all the clips that I've done, and this is no, like I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody I've done an interview with, especially on video. Easiest clips I've ever done in my life. Like cut, done. I didn't have to do anything else. So it just goes to show like how real, raw, and authentic, you know, his content is, and his belief and the trust that he has in what he's been able to do, you know, with his younger brother, you know, over the last many years. And he's so passionate. Maybe potentially there's opportunity, you know, for us in the future, and we'll be talking about that, you know, over the next couple of weeks. But I think this dude needs to be on a sports desk. I don't know about you, but he needs to be somewhere.
He's a natural, that's for sure.
Yeah. And, not only the gift to gab, but just such a likable personality. I mean, you can see why that family has, it's same thing in Ahmed, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to pronounce the name the way the Arabic, pronunciation, Ahmed. But
Yeah.
if I don't have anything sitting right here that I can pull from, it's really hard anyway for me, just because I've been cut there so many times. Yeah, it's tough to say, but Ahmed is quite okay, as he says. So it's a good interview. I started posting some videos. The thing about videos on this channel, since I have not been doing a lot of videos, YouTube is not putting them in front of people. So they're going to have really crappy views and need your help to share it. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing more videos. As we get going, I'll continue to do more videos. But I need some help from you guys to share them so that YouTube can put us back on the map. It won't take long. It usually takes a few weeks, and then YouTube's like, "Oh yeah, you do videos too. We'll put you in front of people again." So anyway, today I want to get through Lions 53-man roster prediction. It's way, 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 way too early, but rookie minicamp is kicking off, and I figured this is a good time as any to kind of walk through that.
Hey,
what else did we have?
They're saying that your volume could come up a little bit.
Oh, did I not turn something off?
Yeah. They said mine was good, but yours was kind of low.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the dumps. Hold on. Oh, you know what? When I reset, I didn't turn off this stupid gain control. And now we're back. So, appreciate it.
There we go.
Oh, I got to get this off the screen, otherwise you're going to sound like you're underwater. And that's something that's changed too. I don't understand why OBS changes so often, but if I don't have OBS in its own screen, it starts to have its own little meltdown. Okay, we're good. What else did you want to get to today?
Oh, well, if we start with some NFL stuff, the Rams are headed to Hawaii. The Los Angeles Rams will hold their veteran minicamp in Maui. Doesn't that sound fun? In Hawaii in mid-June. This is a partnership with the Hawaii Tourism Authority and continues a relationship between the Rams and Hawaii that began in 2018. The team will travel to Maui on June 16th and hold light workouts at War Memorial Stadium on June 17th and 18th. There's going to be some community events, and they're doing that for each day of the minicamp. The Rams will fly back on June 19th with an option for individuals to extend their stay, of course. The Rams last visited Hawaii in 2019 for a preseason game in Honolulu against the Cowboys. Oh, I didn't remember that. And then following the 2023 Maui wildfires, the Rams helped raise money for relief efforts. Hawaii is considered an open NFL market with no team having exclusive marketing rights there. The Rams have global marketing rights in several other countries, including Australia, New Zealand, China, South Korea, Mexico, Japan, and the United Arab Emirates. The NFL will hold its first regular season game in Australia in 2026 with the Rams as the home team. The Rams' decision to hold minicamp in Hawaii is seen as another example of their unique marketing strategy. So I think it's pretty cool, and I'm sure the Rams non-rookies are going to absolutely love it. So it sounds like it's for the veterans and not for the entire team.
And, so it's just a vet mini camp?
Yeah. Veterans mini camp.
Interesting. I didn't see this. So maybe it's a time for them to kind of, figure out what their process is going to be this year. And, obviously put together the leadership, which starts with the veterans, right? That's where the leadership starts. I mean, these are the guys that have to, put this team on their back and lead the younger guys, of course, the rookies. That's interesting to me. I don't think the Lions do anything like this as far as traveling anywhere, but I don't even know if they have just a vet camp. maybe they do. Maybe my brain's not working today. I don't
And-
remember just a specific vet camp. Well, that's a lie. After rookie camp, I think that there is a time where they do have the rookies and the vets kind of separate. Like the rookie, actually the vets go home and the rookies stay, I think is what happens.
Yeah. And the fact that ownership is stepping up and basically giving the whole entire team a free trip to Maui. If I'm a player, man, they're going to get an A+ on my scorecard at the end of the year. free vacation to Maui, and I can extend my stay. Sure. Yeah. So let's take the family and let's go to Maui for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I really want to get out there and do some sail fishing. Like, I mean, Hawaii has so many things that you could visit, but for me, it would literally just to get out there and get on a boat and go do some marlin fishing. Man, it's incredible out there. I would love to do it. That's why I like to go to Mexico and Punta Cana. Like that's where the real fishing is for me. That's what I used to be about, man. Just fishing. I used to fish all the time, every day. Like I used to be on a boat right now every single day. From the time bass season opened until it closed, and then I would go to work or whatever. But every morning, 5 a.m, I'm on a boat, and I haven't done that in years, but kind of miss it.
I haven't been fishing in a long time.
Of course, nothing could replace this now. So this is the new morning love. But if I think about it, I could still get on a boat from 5:30 to 7:30.
There you go.
I'm thinking about it now. Okay, so what's next for you? We'll just go with a lot of what you're going to go with this morning as far as NFL news. The NFL duo, as far as ranking the NFL duo running backs, and this one's kind of a long one, so let's try to slim it up if we can.
Okay. So I came across this article yesterday, and it's ranking every running back duo in the NFL from worst to first, and they put them in tiers from tier 1 through tier 7. So tier 7 is like a work in progress. These are teams that still have work to do in their backfields. And the very first one they list, the Chicago Bears, who struggled with rushing efficiency in 2024 despite having a high volume for DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift just did not cut it last year. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, they saw a decline in production from Travis Etienne and are looking for more consistency. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys bringing up the rear. They continue to search for answers after a poor rushing season, signing veterans and drafting a rookie in the later rounds. So would you agree with those being some of the worst running back duos in the league?
Okay, so tier 7 is the work in progress. That's the bottom of the barrel, and they have Chicago Bears listed. I would agree. You know, they obviously had a terrible season last year. It's DeAndre Swift. What are you going to expect? I mean, he had a decent year with the Eagles, but this is the Bears we're talking about. They didn't have anywhere near the offensive line that the Eagles did. This year, I'm expecting a big-time change with their ability to run the football. The Jags, look, they just don't have great running backs, or they didn't. The Cowboys, they just haven't had a good running back for a while. So, matter of fact, I wish I would have done some homework on this because I would have loved to have seen who they brought in for rookies.
Yeah.
Who did the Cowboys bring in this year? Was it Judkins or Hampton?
I don't even know. All I know is I couldn't even tell you who the Cowboys running backs are. And the thing with Chicago, they wanted Genty so bad.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
And they wanted him in the worst way, and they couldn't get him. So they had to switch gears. They went with the tight end Loveland instead. And later on, all of the running backs were gone by the time
I'm sorry. The Cowboys brought in Jaden Blue, so I was way off. They didn't bring in Judkins or Hampton. They brought in Jaden Blue, which even though he's picked in the 5th round, like this dude, he has immense talent. You can't discredit the guy because he was taken in the 5th round. I really like Jaden Blue in this draft class. Okay, who's next?
All right, tier 6, the rookie headliners, teams that brought in highly touted running backs on day 2 of the NFL draft. Number 1, the Cleveland Browns drafted Quinshawn Judkins and Dylan Sampson, and they also have Jerome Ford. And then the New England Patriots added Travion Henderson, who could play a significant role, and have veterans Stevenson and Gibson. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they drafted Caleb Johnson to pair with Jalen Warren after Najee Harris's departure. And then the Denver Broncos, they drafted RJ Harvey for speed and still have Jaleel McLaughlin in Audric Esteem. Never heard of that guy. So these are 3 or 4 more teams that didn't have the best of running back luck last year, and hoping that some day 2 running backs may have helped them this year.
Yeah, so as far as tier 6 goes, look, the Cleveland Browns have had an excellent offseason and draft, I feel. I mean, I know that, people are still poo-pooing on the Browns, but I think they're on their way. I think that they're a couple more drafts away from really having a crazy good team. I mean, they're just removed from the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, and adding a guy like Judkins, that's a big time move. Jerome Ford, I'm not impressed by Jerome Ford at all. Judkins is probably going to win his role there. Travion Henderson going to the Patriots, he will have a significant role, even with Ramondre Stevenson, and it's Antonio Gibson, right, in New England, I believe. Antonio Gibson he definitely has the ability to be a pretty dynamic running back, but I think health has always been a concern of his. I really like the Henderson pickup here. Steelers, they drafted Caleb Johnson, like you said, to pair with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. Najee Harris is gone. And look, I don't think that was a big loss for them. Honestly, I really don't. Caleb Johnson, I don't know enough about him as far as what he's going to be able to do. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers they're still looking, right? They still need somebody. The Broncos, I think they missed out on a huge opportunity in this draft. They really did. I think they were a running back away from having a fairly dynamic offense. I think they still have a really good offense, but they need that running game to be able to allow Nix to do what he needs to do. So I would agree there. If anybody, I would say that the Browns could probably be moved to tier 5, but it's sight unseen right now. We haven't seen enough. Who's in tier 5?
Also with the Cleveland Browns, their running back, who was it? Nick Chubb, or what was his last?
I'm sorry, who?
The running back from Cleveland that got hurt.
Chubb, yeah.
Yeah, Chubb. He's a free agent right now. So no one has picked him up, and he could always end up going back to the Browns. That would be
that'd be huge for them. But yeah, he's had a lot of injury problems too. So
yeah. So tier 5, this is the injury concerns. This is the injury list. So the backfields with high potential, but also significant injury risk. Number 1 in this tier, the San Francisco 49ers, and their star Christian McCaffrey has dealt with multiple injuries recently. This kid just cannot stay healthy. And then the Miami Dolphins, same thing. Devon Achane is explosive, but has struggled with durability. The kid's electric when he's on the field, but they can't keep him going. Another one, the Kansas City Chiefs starting running back Isaiah Pacheco missed a significant portion of 2024 due to injury. And then someone we faced last year, the Seattle Seahawks, with Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, have talent, but both faced injury issues. And Kenneth Walker was great in the game against us, and he got hurt in the game against us.
That was tier 5, right?
Yep. So that was tier 5. That was the teams with running backs that are more or less injury prone.
Yeah. So Christian McCaffrey, I think his career is just about done. I mean, last year he came back and you could tell he wasn't himself. I don't even know who they brought in this year, honestly. Miami Dolphins, A-Chain is explosive, just like you said. Struggled with durability, just like you said. I think that they should have done something this year. They didn't. Isaiah Pacheco has had spurts, right? It's that flash in the pan, not consistency, that I think the Kansas City Chiefs have been dealing with, not only his injuries, but also the ladder of just being flashy, right? Why didn't they go out and get somebody? I wish that I had their information in front of me as far as who they brought in this year, but I don't. So who's in tier 4?
All right. So tier 4 are the up and comers. Excuse me. These young players face leading backfields with high upside. So the Cincinnati Bengals, they saw the emergence of Chase Brown, who had an impressive scrimmage yardage in his second season. The Los Angeles Chargers drafted Omarion Hampton in the first round to pair with veteran Najee Harris. And then the Las Vegas Raiders drafted Ashton Genty in the first round to revitalize their struggling run game. And then the New York Giants had Tyrone Tracy Jr. emerge as a bright spot and added Cam Scatabo in the draft. And then the New York Jets have a duo in Brees Hall and Braylon Allen with potential in a new coaching scheme with old Aaron Glenn. And then the Carolina Panthers, Chuba Hubbard had a breakout season, and the team added Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys and drafted Trevor Etienne for depth.
So these
are up and comers. These are the young.
They're almost there, right? They're almost there.
Yeah.
Look, Chase Brown, good. Okay, get it. Omarion Hampton's going to be huge for the Chargers. Genty's going to be incredible for the Raiders. I'm not impressed with the Giants, but I would say that Cam Scatabo, look, watch this kid and what he does this year. Cam Scatabo is one of my sleepers. I know that Kyle Brandt really loved this kid, man. Really everything about him. And I do too. I mean, just listening to him, watching what he's done, watching some of his film, I'm surprised he was drafted where he was. I'm surprised that he slipped as far as he did. But again, we don't know what they know. Watch this guy work this year. He's going to be impressive. He could be the reason why the Giants do some things this year. He's got a big road in front of him, but he'll get there. The duo in the Jets, man, Brees Hall and Braylon Allen. So Allen, I'm not crazy about. Brees Hall's always been pretty good. Now under Aaron Glenn, I believe that he'll be able to figure this one out. You know, he's a defensive-minded coach, but I think that Aaron Glenn has enough behind him. Offensive coordinator knows what he's doing. They're going to do well. I believe. Give them a year or two. They know what to do. Chuba Hubbard, yeah, back and forth with him, right? Some years he's great, some years he's not. He completely gashed the Lions. We know that. It was a very, very cold game in Carolina, but breakout season last year. Okay, let's see if he can follow it up. Carolina has not been able to string anything together. This could be a year that they do it. I just don't have any confidence in Bryce. Tier 3.
All right. Tier 3 are one-man bands. Backfields primarily handled by one main player. The Indianapolis Colts rely heavily on Jonathan Taylor, fourth in the league in rushing yards in 14 games. And then the Green Bay Packers invested in Josh Jacobs, who had a strong first season, leading the Packers to finishing fifth in rushing. And then the Los Angeles Rams continue to feature Kyrene Williams as the primary back despite drafting Blake Corum. The Minnesota Vikings extended Aaron Jones, a versatile back, effective both running and receiving, but they did get Mason from the 49ers. And then the New Orleans Saints primarily use Alvin Kamara, a dangerous receiver, out of the backfield. The Houston Texans featured Joe Mixon, a Pro Bowler in his first season with the team. And then the Tennessee Titans rely on Tony Pollard, who has had the majority of touches in their offense.
Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second on this because Dwayne Keene, like, your ears must be ringing. Because yesterday I sat here and struggled all day trying to figure out a nickname for Ahmed Hassanin. And I was thinking of doing the Egyptian conniption. But I'm like, conniption, I don't know. Like, it doesn't fit. If people know what it really means, it could fit. I like it because it rhymes, Egyptian conniption. But then again, I'm looking at Egyptian. Nothing else really rhymes that I know of. My brain was completely boggled yesterday trying to figure out something. And so he just came through with, is it supposed to be the Hassassinine bolt or is that assassin bolt? Hassanin Bolt is Assassin Bolt. It's close, but I get it. Like, you and I are in the same boat here, man. We need to figure out a really good nickname for Ahmed, other than Bud, right? I mean, that's his family given nickname. So let's find one, because I want to utilize it in some cool stories, articles or whatever. But I'm gonna save this one for today's comments. Remember, comments. Get your comments in. We got 2 winners already this month, and at the end of the month, we're going to be giving away something cool. Also, don't forget about training camp this year. Every year, we give away at least 100 tickets, and we're going to be doing it a little bit differently this year, but we're going to do it. So maybe we throw some training camp tickets and some giveaways in one of these months. All right, what's next, Eric?
All right, tier 2 running backs. This includes teams where the quarterback is a significant part of the rushing attack. So, of course, it's going to feature the Philadelphia Eagles, who boast Saquon Barkley with the most rushing in a season, including the playoffs, and Jalen Hurts, whose power rushing and the tush push are key. The Baltimore Ravens feature an unfair duo of Derrick Henry, who led the NFL in rushing, and Lamar Jackson, considered the greatest rushing QB of all time. They set an NFL record for yards per rush in 2024. The Buffalo Bills, they have a lethal rushing touchdown combination with James Cook, franchise record for touching touchdowns, and Josh Allen. And then we have the Arizona Cardinals, overlooked but impactful ground game led by James Conner, career best scrimmage yards last year, and Kyler Murray. And last but not least, we have the Washington Commanders, who saw a rookie record for QB rushing yards from Jaden Daniels. Along with solid production from Brian Robinson Jr., they finished 3rd in the league in rushing yards as a team. So these all have quarterbacks that can do a little bit of the running.
Yeah, so I think that, I don't know who put this together, but you can't include the quarterbacks, right? You just can't. If this is running back duos, it's running back duos. So they failed miserably here by including the quarterbacks. Saquon Barkley needs no duo.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens have Derrick Henry. You can't put in Lamar Jackson. This is running back duos, people. Derrick Henry, look, he's good. I think that his time in the league is starting to wear on him. Didn't show it last year, but he does need a duo. I think that you need someone to pair off of him so that he can get some rest and then go in and do what he does best, which is run people over. Buffalo Bills, I mean, they have a phenomenal pair here, obviously, with James Cook and Josh Allen, but again, got to leave the quarterbacks out of it. James Cook's good. He's not great. Arizona Cardinals, they have, was it James Conner? Look, he's fun to watch. I don't even know who his duo is because they didn't list it in the article. And then the Commanders, again, we got to leave Jaden Daniels out of it. Brian Robinson Jr. was one of the guys that we said last year was on the sleeper list to watch out for him, and he had a good year. I think all 4 of those teams, or 5 of those teams that are listed at tier 2, I think Philly and Baltimore probably belong there. The rest don't, because I'm not going to include the quarterbacks. I would drop the rest down to tier 3. In tier 1, of course, you have the Detroit Lions, but tell us all about it.
All right, so I'm going to go tier 1. I'm going to go from 3 to 2 to 1. So number 3, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, highlighted for their rushing performance in 2024, largely due to running back Bucky Irving with 1,514 scrimmage yards, and then Rachaad White provides quality depth with over 1,000 scrimmage yards. Number 2, we have the Atlanta Falcons, featuring a solid duo of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Robinson had a highly productive 2024 with 1,456 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns, adding in another 431 receiving yards. Algier is an underrated back who is very efficient. And then coming in at number 1 your very own Detroit Lions, ranked as having the best all-around running back room with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, the old Sonic and Knuckles. They were the first duo in NFL history with 10 plus rushing touchdowns in consecutive seasons. They are 11 and 0 in games where both score. Gibbs is the Lightning with 1,929 scrimmage yards, 20 touchdowns in 2024, and David Montgomery is the Power. And they were just heads and tails above everyone else when you put them together in the NFL as a running back duo. So I do agree with this. And Barry Sanders said the same thing the other day, that they are the best tandem in the league.
Without a doubt, the Lions are number one in the league. But you know where this article failed? Big time.
Hmm.
Where was Kyron Williams and Blake Corum for the Rams?
Yeah, they're in there. They're
I don't remember seeing them in there.
they're in tier 4.
That's okay.
No. Where were they? They were in here somewhere.
Okay, they're at tier 3.
Tier 3. Okay,
Right. That's an epic failure. In my opinion, they should be at least in number 2.
Yeah.
Way ahead of the Cardinals, the Commanders. You might even be able to put them in tier 1 at some point this year, depending on how they do. The Falcons, look, I understand Bijan Robinson. He's been dynamic so far. Tyler Algier, he's good at times. He's not great yet. Tampa Bay, Bucky Irving had a phenomenal year last year. Rashad White, good depth, but nothing compares to your Detroit Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And now, adding even more electricity to that is Sione Vaki. And then who do we pick up this year?
For
Running backs. I'm having brain fart with Thursdays, apparently.
I don't think we picked up any running backs, did we?
Yeah, we did. Robichaud, UDFA, Robichaud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really like this kid. I think that he has an opportunity. He's my dark horse right now. He's my dark horse for the Lions. He's on the chessboard, man. And I think that when you try to, when you really try to examine this roster, I can't wait to see what pops out in rookie minicamp. Do we hear anything? Is anything going to be written about this guy? What is he going to do? Is he going to get an opportunity to show who he is? So my eyes are all over Robichaud. Be interesting to see what he does this year. But Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, I think that they definitely belong in tier 2. Get rid of the quarterbacks. Again, whoever wrote this, get rid of the quarterbacks and rank it truly like duos. So, all right, let's get into the 53-man roster, unless we have anything else breaking here for NFL news. We have one more, I guess.
Yeah. The Jaguars released wide receiver Gabe Davis 1 year after signing him to a $39 million contract. The Jacksonville Jaguars have released wide receiver Gabe Davis after 1 season. Davis signed a 3-year, $39 million contract with the Jaguars last offseason. He played his first 4 seasons with the Buffalo Bills, averaging 683 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns per season. Davis gained national attention for an outstanding performance in a 2022 playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. In 10 games with the Jaguars, Davis had 20 receptions for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns before a knee injury ended his season. The Jaguars initially signed Davis to improve their wide receiver depth. However, the emergence of rookie Brian Thomas Jr. and drafting of Travis Hunter in the first round of the 2024 NFL draft made Davis expendable. So this would say to me that they are going to play Travis Hunter more on offense than they are on defense. And then assuming he recovers from his knee injury, Davis is expected to draw interest from other teams in free agency due to his big play potential. While he hasn't been a consistently dominant receiver, his depth threat ability should be attractive to teams seeking a wide receiver.
Okay. Oops. I'm trying to get something set up here. I want to pivot to a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
this is nuts to me. So
Yeah.
you sign him to a 3-year. I'm sorry, what was a 3-year, $39 million deal, right?
Yeah.
And so now that they flat out cut him, they're going to have a $10.3 million cap hit this year. They didn't save any money. They're losing an additional $3.8 million. I don't get it. Like, did you overfill your roster and just say, hey, Gabe Davis, you're the odd man out? That can't be the case. So this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't, there has to be something going on. There has to be a rift somewhere for this to make sense for them, because financially it makes zero sense. It might be the dumbest move I've seen yet outside of just about anything the Browns do, but it might be the dumbest move I've seen yet this offseason. So I'm trying to get a video loaded up here.
Okay.
I want to review one of the videos from yesterday.
So one of the better names I saw in the chat was the Egyptian technician.
Ooh. I like it.
Yeah, I screenshot that one.
I like it. The Egyptian technician. Who said it?
I'll have to look at my screenshots here. Live chat. It was RP.
RP. Yeah, I like that, man. I like it.
So far, that's my favorite one.
All right, so I want to review, like I said, one of the videos from yesterday. I just gotta somehow trim this up, man. My mouse is really giving me problems. So since we got back from the draft, I thought that I really wasn't having any issues. Everything connected just fine, and then everything just went nuts. So Logi sent me a brand new set. I bought a $200 keyboard mouse set last year. Has a 2-year warranty. And I will never, not buy a different kind. It's absolutely amazing what the MX keys can do. So if you're looking for a new keyboard and mouse set, I would highly recommend it. I think that something's happened with my Bluetooth for whatever reason. Probably my fault, but I hate the wandering mouse because it slows me down. I can't just be an Egyptian technician and get in there and point and click.
You can't ask me for help.
There's just no help needed here. It's just it just needs to work. And I don't have a corded mouse.
I am the opposite of an IT technician. I'm the guy that can break it all.
Yeah, you're usually responsible for all the G-men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
so, yeah, and it looks like my box is a little bit out of frame. But let me go back here. There we go. Okay, I think I got it loaded up. So I want to review one of the videos from yesterday with Corey Besh. I got to say it again, man. The guy's interview was absolutely dynamo, electric. He has it. Talking about Ahmed, the story. I don't know of a better story that I've heard in the NFL in a long time. When I see guys like Colston Loveland going off a deep end with some crazy, stupid rap that he's doing in a swamp, like,
what?
Yeah, like what? What are we doing? And what is Chicago doing? You know what I mean? And it looked god awful. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a rapper and having, multiple things that you want to become, but dude, you just got in the NFL and you're already putting out crap. It's just, then you see the guy like Ahmed who just wants to go out and die on the field for Dan Campbell, and what he means. I mean, it's cliche, right? He doesn't mean that he wants to go out and die, right? It just means that he wants to go out and put everything on the line. He's going to put everything, and leave it all out on the field. That's what he means. And to me, that's exactly what grit is all about. Now I've had and read the book Grit, and I do need to get some more copies because I want to get some signed, and I want to give them away or put them up for raffle. But I want to send a box to Dan Campbell and see if he'll sign them for us, and we'll see. So I'm going to get a box of books. Huh?
Who wrote that book?
I'd have to go look at my book, but
okay.
the name escapes me right now. Here, you know what? I can tell you real quick. Angela Duckworth. That's right. Angela Duckworth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good book, man. It's been out for a long time. And she's written many of other books, but it's all about psychology and I mean just the term grit and what it really means. It really had nothing to do with football at all. It's more of a mentality than it is anything else. It's the power of passion and perseverance, really. What is grit? You know, it's powering through when you're up against the wall. It's finding a way around and getting out of sticky situation and just being full of grit means you're going to persevere. You're going to be resilient. You're going to fight yourself out of a box. So, all right, let's do this. Corey Besh highlight. Oh, there's Angela Duckworth. Hey. All right, here we go. Corey Besh, yesterday's video. We're going to highlight this morning. If you guys haven't watched the video yet, please do. Oh, I don't hear audio. Did you hear audio? Hold on.
I can never hear audio.
Yeah, I know you can't, but I've got YouTube muted because otherwise random things will start playing and I don't like that. Try again.
There's 32 NFL teams. So we get to draft time and the 4th round comes and then the 5th round comes and Detroit doesn't have a pick in the 5th round. And I'm thinking like, is he going to last? Maybe it's not going to be the Lions. And by the time the 6th round comes and they had traded, up and then it was the 20th pick that they had coming up, we were stressed, exhausted. He is now starting to doubt. I think one of the reporters in the room mentioned something like, well, James Harrison went undrafted. And I literally I was like, well, that's cool, but it ain't happening, brother. like we're not putting that energy into this room. Right. Because I knew it was going to happen. It was just only going to happen at one moment. Right. I'm over here stressing the entire day about, where's he going to go? When's he going to get picked? But there's only ever going to be the time that he gets picked, not too early, not too late. It's only one moment. And I'm over here stressing, when is that moment going to be? And finally I give it up to the Lord. I said, God, you know what team needs him and you know exactly where he's supposed to be. And as soon as that final word came out of my mouth, he hits me on the leg, which was the sign for somebody's on the phone. I sneaked a little peek at the scene and it said something about Michigan and I almost lost it. That's when I said, you'll see me in some of those viral videos. And I'm just talking to myself, talking to the Lord, thanking Jesus for confirming in me, right, what he had told me all along. And that it was the perfect spot for Ahmed to land because it could not think of a better fit culture-wise, coach-wise, development-wise, community-wise than the city of Detroit, right? This is a place where he's going to get to grow and continue to be a man of character. You're going to see that is who he is. He's an enthusiastic, loving, compassionate, passionate dude. And it comes across on the field. It comes across in his interactions with everyone that comes in contact with him. And the day and after we get off the media stuff with the Detroit media and he then proposes to his fiance, right? And makes the day about her and shares in his, the biggest day of his life. He ends up deciding to share that with his most important person. And that is just another testament to who he is, right?
Let's you know what? Let's
Whoops, that's crunch time. We don't want crunch time on there. Probably should have just downloaded it and uploaded it, but I didn't have time this morning. So the thing that I wanted to point out in there about what he was saying, there's a couple of things. Number one, when he goes and he says, one of the reporters in the room or somebody in the media said, well, James Harrison went undrafted and, kind of look what he's become. He said, that's not going to happen, brother. We're not bringing this, energy into this room like that. I love that. He was so confident his brother was going to make it and he was going to get drafted. And he was also confident that it was going to be the Detroit Lions at some point once he got through the 4th and 5th round, that the Lions made a lot of sense. And I love that he was so convicted in his belief where his brother would land would be the perfect fit. It was powerful listening to that statement. And then the second thing, well, first, let me get your reaction to that. I know we didn't really have a chance to talk about it yesterday, but let me get your reaction to when he said that yesterday.
Yeah, what a cool memory for him and his brother. And I like that, just like me, he stayed on the positive side of things instead of going all negative, because you get that negativity in the room and it's just gonna spiral, and that's gonna make your day even longer. And who knows what happens when you put that out in the universe, all that bad juju. um so as far as I'm concerned, I love that he stayed positive. He instantly snapped it back to positive. If I was there, I probably would have said, can you step outside? James Harrison's out there waiting to
Yeah.
do an interview with you out there.
Right.
Something like that. I might have said something like that. And yeah, just the whole story is amazing. I thought Corey was so good yesterday. Absolute natural, very, very knowledgeable with football. And yeah, look forward to hopefully seeing that guy again.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of them, honestly. It's like I said, yesterday, like I think one of my titles was like the most viral something or other, but
Yeah.
he is viral, man. I mean, the way that he speaks, the things that he says, the passion that he has, like it belongs in front of more people. And he, being a natural is one thing, but having a lot to say that can resonate with a lot of people is another. And finding that balance, I think he did a really good job yesterday. The second thing, in that video was really just, so what happens, right? They get the call. He's going to Detroit. And he says, how that he got his confirmation. Everything that he was putting up, he got the confirmation back that his brother was going to land in a perfect spot, which is Detroit. I know a lot of fans out there, we've seen it all off season, clamoring for an edge. And you're like, oh, goody, we got an edge in the 6th. No, you got an absolute dog in the 6th round. You got a guy that is willing to put it all on the line. You've got a guy that's only been playing football for 5 years now, and he's completely terrorized everybody that he's gone up against. His production, so when we look at production, you can look at it from a lot of different angles. He has the production as far as numbers are considered, but he also has the production of what he was able to do, allowing, his team also feed off of that and have production. There's 2 layers to it. I mean, there's more layers, but every time you peel a layer back, you're looking at stats, you're looking at production, you're looking at what they do on the field. I've always said, and you guys know I've always said this, look, we don't need a guy on the other side of Aiden that can get 10, 12 sacks a year. And I'm not saying that Ahmed couldn't become that individual. He could, but that's not what it's about. And not only have I been saying that, but after I've said that, who else has said the same thing? Aaron Glenn at the beginning of last year said the same thing. Look, it's not about sacks. It's about other ways of having production on the field. Brad Holmes has doubled down on that this year at I believe it was the combine and the league meetings down in Florida. He said the same thing. It's not about sacks. It's about creating chaos. It's about, creating disruption. And sacks are great, right? But pressure is more important. And that's where I've always been, is about pressure. I've always been in that boat that says, I don't care if you get a sack. I just care that you've helped your team win and that you did your job to the best of your ability, and you've allowed the other guys to be able to do their job to the best of their ability. And then you guys also know how I always relate these types of things to a chain link. And I envision an offensive line, right? And you have the center that's the beginning of the center of the chain link. And then it wraps around to the tackles and the tight end, and whether it's strong side or weak side, right? If Ali McNeil or Tyleek Williams or DJ Reader or Levi Onsariki can break that center link, well, now the rest of that defense can go and eat. As long as they independently win their one-on-ones and do their job and they don't get out of control, now you're allowing everybody else to do their job. But if one guy is freelancing, right? If one guy is kind of pulling the rest of the universe out of whack, right? Imagine, you got something spinning around the gravity out in the atmosphere and it just gets off a little bit. Well, it starts to pull everything with it. You don't want that. You don't want to have a wobble, right? You need it to be spinning perfectly, the way that it's supposed to spin. The minute it starts to wobble on the defense, things break down. That's when you get a big run for 20 yards, an explosive run. That's when you get a big pass, for 20 yards or a touchdown, an explosive, right? I think that Ahmed is going to be so drilled down in what he does and doing it right and making sure that he does it right, that it's just going to be another football player on the field that's doing what he needs to do to allow everybody else to do what they need to do. That's what it's all about. And you've heard Aaron Glenn say it. You've heard Dan Campbell say it. You've heard Brad Holmes say it. You've heard Ben Johnson say it. In our new guys, right, our new coaches, they all pretty much say the same thing. You must do your job. And then you need to win your one-on-ones. That's what it's all about. If you can't win your one-on-one, now you've put pressure on everybody else. If you're freelancing and doing things you're not supposed to, you're putting pressure on everybody else. Go back and think, Eric, what happened to Alex Anzalone in his first 2 seasons in Detroit? His first season, you could tell that we had a lot of trouble. We had a lot of problems on the defense. Yep. And it's because he's trying to teach, the young guys what they're supposed to do. And then he's trying to play multiple positions, covering what the defensive end is supposed to do, covering what the defensive tackle, covering what the middle, or he was middle, the, Will or Sam linebackers are supposed to do, covering what the safety in the corner is supposed to do. He was all over the place.
Yep.
And we had a lot of problems. We didn't win football games. Our defense was terrible. But then as we started to add guys that could do their job, what happened? Do you want me to answer, or do you remember?
Everything just started to gel. Our backfield wasn't complete chaos, because when Alex Anzalone was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, the first season back in 2020, and I remember thinking he's just doing too much. And I remember Dan Campbell saying something about it and saying, we're just asking too much of him. There's too much going on, and need him to just do his job and not everybody else's.
So that's the thing, right? Alex was able to start playing with his hair on fire. You could see that he started to enjoy football again, because it went from chaos, literal chaos, not good chaos, in the defense, where everything was breaking down systematically. And then it went to, okay, I can now trust. And that was another thing that I wanted to highlight when he said that word trust. There's a reason why I keyed in on that yesterday in the interview, because not a lot of people understand what a coach must do, which is trust. If they don't trust you, you're not making it on the football field. If they don't trust you, you're not dressing, with the 48 or whatever that are going to the game that day. If they don't trust you, you're not going to play. And so when Corey said that, I don't remember what show it was on, might have been Woodward. When he said the word trust, I'm like, this dude gets it. He wholeheartedly gets it. And then to translate that a little bit to what Ahmed does, what Ahmed believes in, and what he's been drilled down to do, which is to build trust by doing the right thing. He's going to study tape like a fanatic, right? He's going to study the playbook like a fanatic. That's what you want. Like what they used to call a gym rat, right? You need to be a gym rat about everything that you do. It's football first. This is your job, right? It's social media dead last. Football first, right? You can put it in any way you want, whether it's God, family, football, or football, God, family. I don't care. Whatever you believe in, whether you're religious or not, you know that they put that, those mantras together. Whatever you believe in, if it's your job to play football, that has to be first in line somewhere, right? Whether that's third in the hierarchy or second or whatever you want it to be. I think that Ahmed is going to put football above everything else. And then everything else that's more important than football, like family or religion or whatever's important to him, will also come first. But when he's on the field and when he needs to study, right, when he needs to be prepared, it'll come first. So I hate to get overly excited, and I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just being real, right? The reality check is, you hate to get overly excited about guys like James Houston. I was overly excited about. And then when he came in and popped off in the Bills game, we seen it. I think that he was misused. I think that Aaron Campbell ruined his career. Or, Aaron Glenn, I think, ruined his career. Intentionally, unintentionally, I don't know. But I don't know what James Houston also did to ruin his career. I don't know what he was doing in the locker room or outside of the locker room. Off the field, on the field. I don't know. Was he not studying? Was he not ready? Was he mouthing off? We don't know. Was he a virus in the locker room? For me, we saw what he could be. And he could have probably had just as many sacks as Aiden every year or more. And I think he was misused. I absolutely will believe that. In his second season, when you're having this guy run down the field to cover running backs and tight ends, that's not what James is, right? James is a pass rusher. I don't care if he's a one down, guy. I don't care if he's a third down guy. He's a pass rusher. And if you really, I guess it just goes to show, right, that they don't believe in sacks as much, because you would have kept him just a specialist. Play special teams, come in on third down. Or when we're going to, blitz or get after the quarterback, that's your job. They didn't believe in that. But what the Lions believed in is, you need to be an every down guy. You need to play special teams. And that's what we're going to try to force you to do, which is not what he did. It never worked at linebacker for a reason. When he became a defensive end, that's what he was supposed to be good at, and he was. So I hope that they don't have that same mistake. Now, Aaron Glenn's gone, but I hope that they don't have that same mistake with some of these guys. Like, stop forcing them into a round peg, when they're a square body. Let them do what they do best, and everything else naturally will happen around it. So I could go all day on this. I really could, but we can't. We can't.
So I got a couple of quick things here. So I didn't even put 2 and 2 together when we drafted Hassanin. We already have the Egyptian sun god in Amon-Ra St. Brown. So how cool is it that we pair Amon-Ra and Hassanin together? That's pretty cool in itself. And then Will Carter had one here in the comments, the Egyptian prescription.
Oh,
so there's another good one.
I thought it looks like I got everybody off and running with the names, because they don't care less what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
The chat is all over the names this morning on figuring out the nicknames. I looked up that too, Bob W, the Montu, the Egyptian god of war, and I was trying to find something too that would work, and then I asked AI to help me, and it was no help. Yeah, it was crazy. And then I just seen that Steen name in here. Hold on. I'm gonna have to wind it back.
Yeah, Attila the Hun was a Mongol. I just watched a whole thing about him yesterday or day before.
I don't know why I can't roll back. Oh, there it is. Jennifer Steen. Love your YouTube channel. Great content. Love the draft. You nailed each pick. Amazing. So Jennifer Steen was the one that mentioned the Zadarius Smith thing when we were live, when we weren't taking an edge, and mentioned that maybe, Zadarius Smith will be back. And so, yeah, big shout out to you. Haven't seen your name back in the chat in a minute. So appreciate the compliments and appreciate you being part of Rockhound Detroit Lions. Let's see. Attila the Hun. Actually, I am Hungarian. I'm Hungarian too, by the way. I got a little bit in me.
So James Hillman says that James Houston was a one-trick pony, and that was basically what he was. He could dip his hips and get around that edge, and you couldn't stop him.
He had great bend. I don't know why people said he wasn't, good at getting to the pass, the passer. What he did in his first year was who he was. He literally had like 7 sacks in, 30 snaps or 34 snaps, or like he was averaging a sack like every other snap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was crazy. And again, I think Glenn derailed him. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was unintentional. Maybe they didn't want. So what was Houston? Was he a 6th round pick too?
Yeah.
6th or 5th? Maybe they didn't want a 6th round pick showing up their number 2 overall. I don't know. Maybe there's politics in this.
That whole situation baffles me to this day, because going into James Houston's second season, it just derailed. It fell off the tracks. Everyone on every podcast before the season was predicting, Hutch to get 10 to 15 sacks and Houston to get 10 sacks. And, we were going to have 20 sacks combined in a season. And it just didn't happen. It was absolutely awful. They tried him at linebacker and all these weird positions. Then they put him on special teams and he breaks his leg.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't get it. I just didn't understand why they were trying to make a player that had never done certain things into a player that they wanted to do all these other things.
All right, so it's going to be really hard for me to pay attention to everybody's names that they're trying to put in. So let's do this. For the next 2 minutes, put your best name in or best names in just one text into the chat, because I won't be able to pay attention to them all. I'm sure there's a lot of good ones in there.
I do like the one from Attila the Hun.
I just saw that one.
Mummy. Yeah, the Motor City Mummy.
Yeah, I like that one too. So you guys put them in. I'll ask the mods if you would be so kind just to screenshot. If you're doing it from a computer, use your snipping tool and just save it and just throw it in the mods chat or something, or email it to me, and we'll see what we come up with, and we'll try to pick an extra winner for the nickname on this too. And then we'll put it out on Twitter for a vote and see if we can get some people to push it for us and get some votes in. It is Thirsty Thursday, says Jay Cruisin. What? It's Thirsty Thursday. All right. Well, you know what we're thirsty for? We're thirsty for the 53-man roster. And let's get into that right now. I also want to get into the schedule. Let's predict some schedule here. And I got to be honest.
Wednesday, the schedule comes out.
Yeah, the 14th, right? 14th. Yep. And it's weird because I knew that like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And the 15th, I think, is when we knew that we would be able to get more information from clubs as far as tickets and stuff like that, because the schedule came out. So I don't know why the NFL made it a big deal. Like, the schedule comes out, during the draft, like it was some release. No, that information's been out for a long time. It's kind of weird. I didn't understand that, but it is what it is. I got a little information yesterday, by the way. I don't know if it's going to hold up. Last year it held up with the schedule. Last year I said that we were going to have 5 primetime games. Nobody believed me. I think the max is 6.
Yeah, max is 6.
Right? And the Lions did have 5 primetime, and then they had Thanksgiving, right? So what I'm hearing might only be 4 this year. Plus Thanksgiving, obviously, but might only be 4. However, what I heard is the reason why they might do less is so they can do more. Last year, the way that the schedules kind of played out, there was a lot of bad football games on some of these, primetime games. What I heard is the NFL is trying to manipulate this a little bit so that they can drop teams and elevate teams. So if you if you're a Sunday 4 p.m. game, that you could get bumped to Sunday night, or however they do that, or you know what I'm saying? That they could bump teams up and down. That possibly the Lions are going to only have 4 primetime games, and then to focus on bumping them up when they have a really good matchup, coming up, depending on how the schedule rolls out. They have a crazy schedule. I guess as we're on schedule, let's just go through the schedule.
I did see a list yesterday that lists the top 10 matchups for this upcoming season when the schedule comes out, and number 2 was the Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles on that list.
What was the list saying?
I was just saying they're the top 10 matchups that they're most looking forward to, the can't miss, most likely primetime games, and Detroit at Philly was number 2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy good game. Now, last year, like I said, when we got to that point, even if we would have beat the Commanders, I still believe that we lose the next week. We just too many injuries. It's not to say anything else other than I think we just had too many injuries. I don't think that we would have been able to get past the Eagles.
Well, the way the Eagles played the Rams, I thought for sure we would be able to run all over them. So even with some defensive lacking, I think we would have had a very good fighter's chance against the Rams had we run the ball like we should have against the Commanders. I completely think that we dropped the ball on running the ball against the Commanders. They had too good of a defensive backfield,
The whole game was blown, dude.
all the turnovers, but we needed to run the ball more.
Whole game was blown.
Got the best running back duo in the league, and they don't do anything because you don't give them the ball.
Yeah.
And running David Montgomery as the number 1 5 weeks after he hurt his knee, and you weren't sure if he was 100% or not.
Oh, you could tell he wasn't. I don't care what anyone says. He did not look the same. I think he was averaging like 2 yards a carry.
But they kept him in there.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
He should have been the emergency backup.
Feed Gibbs the rock, right?
Yep, exactly.
And I'm not saying that Monty's not going to come back this year and have a crazy good year. He will. He's going to be stronger because of his injury, just like Hutch should be stronger because of his injury. Should be in better shape, right? Which is hard to think. But talking about the schedule, so we've got home games. Here's what I'd like to do. Home games, opener. We'll start with the opener. For everybody in the chat, everybody listening later, comments later, I would like to know, what is your number 1 option for the Lions to open up the season this year? Do you want it to be a home opener, meaning the first game of the year? Would you rather see us on the road the first week? Or how do you want the season to be opened the first game? Now, we had the opener when we went to the NFC Championship game. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think I'm wrong.
No, the year that we went to the NFC Championship game,
We opened up against Kansas City.
against Kansas City because we had beat the Packers when we went 9-8 and kept them from going to the playoffs.
Right. So we were only 9-8, and we ended up getting the opener against the Chiefs. And then that year we went all the way to the NFC Championship to blow that game too. This year, I've heard a lot of people saying it's going to be Lions and Eagles to open up the season. Yeah, I don't think that happens. And I don't think that happens for a multiplex of reasons, but I think the number 1 reason is that's going to be a game later on in the year that is probably going to decide a lot of fate for either team. I don't think the Eagles are going to be as good of a team as they were last year, but I think that the Lions are going to have a little bit of a different year this year. 15-2 is an anomaly. It doesn't happen often. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say that probably happens, every 20 years, 25 years, but it doesn't happen for the Lions. So 15-2 will be a far cry from that. I think the floor this year for the Lions to make the playoffs is 11 wins. I would say that that's going to be the floor. I know that the over-under right now is still, 10.5 games?
10.5 for the Lions.
Yeah, so the over-under, Eric, are you over or are you under?
I'm over. I'm saying 13-4 this year.
13-4. Now, when the season ended, I said that the Lions are going to go 14-3. It's the same thing I've said for the last 3 years. Well, actually, I said that we would go 12-5 the 1 year, but it was 12-5, and I missed out on a few games that I didn't get them right, obviously. But 14-3 is where I said that we would have to be this year to win the 1 seed. How important is the 1 seed to you?
I don't find it as important as I used to. We had it this year, and we didn't do anything with it. To me, I'm more concerned about winning the division and just getting into the playoffs. Hopefully, we get to host a playoff game. If we get to host one playoff game, I'm happy. We don't have to have them all at Ford Field. If we got to go on the road, we got to go on the road. I'm fine with that too. Either way, I just want to get in the dance and see what we can do. I want to get hot late in the year and just get on a tear and be healthy for once.
So I'm not even going to try to do the mind bending of what it takes to be a 2 or 3 seed, and then you can still end up with all the playoff games at home. But there is a way, if you are not the 1 seed, that you can still have all of the playoff games at home. Win your division. If you are a 1 through 4 seed, you'll have a home playoff game. Depending on what happens that first week in the wild card, you could end up having the next 2 games at home. You really could. They are at least the next game at home. And then depending on what happens that week, you could have a 3rd game at home. So there is a way to do it. You don't necessarily need the 1 seed just to stay at home. It just relies upon other games to be won or lost for you to have that opportunity. So to your point, to me, my point as well, I just want to get in the dance. I do want to win the North again and three-peat it. I think that would be an incredible victory in and of itself. But at some point in time, right, the banners on the wall, I could care less about. There's only one banner that's not on that wall that I care more about, and that is winning a Super Bowl. I don't even know if the Lions have been putting up the banners. If they have, take them down. Like, look, we've been going this long without them. Let's put one up there that matters the most.
They put one up for the 2023 NFC North champions, and then they just added 2024 to it. So there's a lot of room on the bottom of that flag, and they just keep putting more numbers on there.
Yeah, that one's great. I just think that
they don't put up a whole new banner, though. They just keep adding to it.
So what I would like to see is us at least get in the playoffs. I think the floor is 11 games to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I still would like to see the Lions be in that 2 or 3 seed. And the reason why is, and again, I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but I'm pretty confident in this answer. There has not been a Super Bowl winner that hasn't been a 1 or a 2 seed in a long time that I can remember. And if it has happened, it's not very often.
Yeah. Giants.
Yeah, Giants could be 1, right?
Yeah, because they were the 6th seed.
Right.
They won.
We do know that 5th seeds, 6th, I mean, they hardly ever have made it even to an NFC championship game. So for me, look, just get into the playoffs. Yes, I still want to see him as a 1 or a 2 or 3 seed at a minimum.
Yeah.
Home opener. Do you think it's going to be home or away?
The first game of the season I think is going to be away because we have 9 road games. So to fit them in, you probably start on the road, you probably end on the road. But our first home game, I want it to be the Bears at home.
So you want it to be home?
Yes. For our first home game, I think week 2 will be the Bears at the Lions. That's just made for TV.
No. I'm talking the opener. Like,
I
Okay.
think we're going to be away, so it might be like Lions at Chiefs week 1.
Okay, so you don't think that it's going to be a Commanders or the Eagles?
No, it might be like because they always stretch it out, and the first week they put a Thursday night game on. I don't think we're going to get the Thursday night game, but then they do.
Well, the Thursday night game is the season opener,
Yep.
right? And the season opener, you don't think that we're going to be in that.
No.
And the season opener should have, you would think, the Eagles in it,
Yes.
right? Because they're the Super Bowl champ. Is that a correct statement? Do they always get the season opener?
I think so, and I think it's going to be Eagles and Commanders. That's just made for TV. They like to put a marquee matchup in week 1, as many games as they can.
Okay, so quick search says no, the Super Bowl winners don't always open the next NFL season, but it's been a strong tradition. There's been some exceptions, but since 24, the defending Super Bowl champion has usually been scheduled to host the kickoff game. There's been a couple instances where it wasn't the case. In 2013, the Ravens, who were the defending champs, opened on the road against the Broncos. There was a scheduling conflict, though, with the Baltimore Orioles baseball season. See, I haven't even looked at any of that stuff, and I'm probably not going to. In 2019, the Patriots, who were the defending champs, were not even part of the kickoff game, as the league featured the Bears and the Packers, celebrating the NFL's 100th season. Man, that's some BS, right?
Yeah.
Reason for exceptions, though, is usually only to scheduling conflicts when the league wants to highlight a specific event or a rivalry for the kickoff game, or other games that are played in NFL stadiums if the stadiums are shared. So that makes a lot of sense. I think the opener will be the Eagles, and I believe that it won't be the Lions. I think the Eagles are going, whoever they're going to play, I don't know. It's not the Lions. Lions are not going to be in the opener. In the opening weekend, though, I do believe, just like I said at the end of, well, after the Super Bowl, beginning of this offseason, I also said I see where the Lions could potentially play the Commanders. To your point, it is made for TV. It would give the Lions a chance to run it back. I don't think it's going to be, I mean, in the opener, could it be the Commanders and the Eagles? Are they playing each other this year?
Yeah, well, they play each other twice, but yeah,
Right.
I do believe that is going to be the opening game on Thursday night.
Hold on here. I don't even know why I just said that. Commanders schedule. Okay, so they have obviously the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, the Broncos. See, the Broncos are pretty high flying team last year too. You could see. See, I think you could see the Commanders and the Broncos on opening weekend just because it's Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, the two quarterbacks from last year's draft that potentially had the better of the seasons than all the other rookies. You could also see the Commanders and the Bears. Ben Johnson going back up against the Commanders, and again, two quarterbacks taken out of the same draft. I think that's where the NFL is probably going to play some of this, is pairing up quarterbacks from last year's draft and then also playoff scenarios from last year and matching those teams back up again. So even though I thought it would be the Commanders and the Lions, I'm not going there. I'm definitely not going the Lions and the Eagles. I think that is a far stretch. I don't believe that the Lions are not in the NFL graces like some people said. It must have been, I think it was from Woodward. They said that we'll see where the Lions remain in the NFL's graces or something like that if they even get a shot at the opener. And the opener doesn't matter, right? That doesn't mean that the NFL doesn't like the Lions. NFL's never liked the Lions. Just because we've had a couple of good seasons doesn't change that. Doesn't change anything. We still have to earn everything like everybody else. I would hate to see this, and this usually doesn't happen. An NFC North rivalry, right? A division game to open the season. When's the last time that's happened? I think if the NFL really wants to get something right, it's the Bears and the Lions on opening weekend. In a Sunday night, Monday night showdown in Chicago.
I've always said that I believe that the first 3 weeks and the last 3 weeks of the season should be divisional games. Because you have 6 divisional games. It would be awesome if they were all in the beginning and all in the end. Every team plays their division for the first 3 weeks, plays their division for the last 3 weeks of the season. I always thought that would be great drama because you know those games are going to mean more at the end of the year and in the beginning of the year.
Well, I think also in the beginning of the year, you know, you have 2 brand new teams, right? You have the Lions with all these new coordinators, and then you have the Bears with a brand new team. We would know less of each other to start the first weekend off, you know, first game off. However, I think that we know each other pretty well. And I think that we know Ben Johnson just as he knows us very well. I think it would be a hell of a football game, but I don't see them opening the season up with a divisional matchup. It seems like the first few weeks are always, I don't remember any divisional matchups from last year being on opening weekend. I just can't remember.
Last one I remember us having was against the Bears when Calvin Johnson had the catch, no catch.
Mm.
When they ruled he didn't complete the process.
That was the opener game?
That was the opener, season opener. Yeah. I remember just being so destroyed on that first game. Horrible.
So there were no divisional matchups in the first week of the regular season.
Yeah. Trey says 2001 was the last time division rivals opened the season.
Well, hey, I'm all about breaking old tradition to a degree.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to see the Lions and the Bears. I would say that's probably not going to happen. You said Lions Commanders, right?
For
the opener, the Lions opener.
I think the Lions home opener is going to be
not home opener, just the opener to open the season.
The opener to open the season. I think it's going to be Lions at Chiefs.
Lions at Chiefs.
Yep. Sunday night or Monday night. Probably the Sunday night.
So Lions away to open the season. I like being away to start the year because you have a better opportunity. Like I just said, you don't know each other as well, and you don't know much about the team because there's not much tape from that season, right? There's no tape. So being on the road, I think, benefits a team like the Lions that are highly powered offense and defense that can go in and just smash and grab, right? Get in and get out with a win. So you think Lions at Chiefs?
Yeah.
I'm going to also go with the Lions on the road. And I'm going to go... I'm going Lions at Rams.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
My choice would be Lions at Bears. That would be my choice.
Yeah.
All right.
I think week 2 will be Bears at Lions.
Okay. Now let's do home opener.
Yeah.
All right. Home opener. You said
Bears.
Bears at Lions. I still think it's early for divisional games, but who knows?
People want to see that, and they know all this tension's been going all off season. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they put either the Bears at the Packers, the Packers at the Bears very early in the season as well, because even Matt LaFleur was on some podcast and was saying, I don't know why Ben Johnson hates on me in this. I don't even know him, and so Ben Johnson's definitely not making any friends in the division.
You know what? I hope the Rams game doesn't happen now. I might have to switch what I want to do here because I would love to see the Rams game be a little bit later in the season, especially after November or in November, December. So it's an indoor game in the cold, but we'll see. May not happen. It's just wishful thinking. I'd rather see the Lions at the Bears early in the season, just like I'd rather see the Lions at the Eagles early in the season. You could see the Lions open up against the Ravens. That could be our first game away. That would be a hell of a football game. It would also be in tune with the better of the football teams getting their opener, against a really good football team on a Sunday, Monday night football game. So I think the Lions are probably going to have a lot of 4:30 games this year, just because of where our away games are. We're going to have a lot of 4:30 games. And those 4, or 5 games that are primetime, Lions might be playing in the afternoon and evenings all year.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I really enjoyed last year being at the end of December, having that California game going to San Fran. And this year we're playing the Rams. If they put it in right around that same spot, it made for a very excellent vacation to get away from the cold and the snow and go out to California for a little while. So I would not mind it if that game was in late December again.
Our home games are kind of terrible, right? We have the Cowboys, the Giants, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Bucs.
Yeah, we shouldn't lose a home game.
We shouldn't, but they're just not. I mean, the Cowboys, that's always an exciting game because we hate the Cowboys to a degree, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more hatred since all that crap went down. But I think that they're going to want to make our first game a really good game at home, and so I think it's going to be one of two teams. I think it'll be the Cowboys or the Bucs.
Yeah.
So my home opener is going to be the Cowboys at the Lions.
And that'll be
week 2.
Aiden Hutchinson's revenge game.
Yep, there you go. It's the redemption game for Aiden. So the storyline matches, the narrative works. It's a great point. All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, we've got the opener the first week. We've got the Lions home opener. We've got the schedule, wins and losses. You think 13-4. I think 14-3. Man, we're already at 9:40, and we haven't even gotten to the 53-man roster.
I was looking at that.
Jeez, oh, Pete's.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's run it down. Home games, Bears, win or loss?
Well, we're going to sweep the division.
Okay, that'll make it easy for me to put all that in. Okay, Eric says win for the Packers, win for the Vikings, Cowboys.
Oh, we're going to smash them.
Okay, Giants.
No problem.
Browns.
No problem.
Steelers.
Okay, so that's 6, 7, 8. We're going to beat the Steelers.
Bucks.
Iffy. Undecided.
If he's not on the team anymore.
Let's see. I got to see what other games there are. Can I come back to that?
That's it. That's it for home games.
For home games?
Yeah, so we have 8 this year. And so far you have a sweeping the division, so that's Bears, Packers, Vikes.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Giants, Browns, Steelers. You had a win, and now the Bucks.
I'll say we lose to the Bucks. So there's my one home loss.
We are not losing to the Bucks 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that's my one for right now. I might change it here once I hear what the road games are.
All right, think about your Thanksgiving Day game. Who do you think that's going to be? I'm going to do this. Lions don't lose a game at home. Last year we swept the road games. This year we're going to sweep the home games for sure. And I'm going to go. Look, I want to win on Thanksgiving. I just don't know who the matchup is going to be. And
It won't be Dallas.
It won't be Dallas. Could it be the Steelers?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be the Steelers or the Packers.
Last year it was the Bears, right?
Bears, yes. They like to give us every once in a while, give us a divisional game, but who are we playing? The AFC with the Steelers, AFC North, and then the Browns. They're not going to put the Browns on. I think it'll be the Packers on Thanksgiving this year. Or, yeah, maybe Minnesota. Somebody put Minnesota as well. Minnesota would make for a great Thanksgiving, and they don't get Thanksgiving very often.
Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm going to say Minnesota. Yeah, let's make it somebody different. We haven't played Minnesota on Thanksgiving in forever.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with. I mean, it has to be one of the guys that are one of the teams that are home team. So, home team for us, home game for us. Since I got the Bucks week, what did I say? The Bucks was. No, I had the Cowboys week 2. I'm going to go Steelers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Steelers.
Steelers are a good national draw, so I would not be surprised, but I think they're going to keep it divisional, like they did last year.
Okay, away games. I'm gonna start with divisional. Obviously, Bears, Packers, Vikings.
Sweep them all three.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think the Bears have a shot?
Nope. So that gives me 7-1 and 3. So that's got me at 10 wins so far.
Yeah, you got a lot of losses coming up.
10-1. Well, I say I'm going to get to 13-4. So
I'm sticking with my 14-3. But however, I will say this: we're not winning 15 games. It's not going to happen. And even if we win 11, I'm not going to be mad. And I think that we have to get that out of our head right now. I don't see us losing 6 or 7 games in reality. I don't see that. I see us making the playoffs. The only thing that matters is winning the North and getting in the playoffs and being one of the, top seeds. So by winning the North, you're guaranteed a top 4 seed. Okay, so you have all 3 divisional games as a lock. Now you've got the Commanders.
okay.
What are you calling there?
All right. Can you list all of our away opponents?
Commanders, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Rams.
Bengals, Chiefs, Rams. So I got Commanders, Eagles, Bengals, Chiefs, Rams. Did I miss any?
Commanders, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Rams.
Ravens. Okay, so I have to pick 3 of these that we will lose to. This is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to say our three losses there are the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Ravens.
Really? The Chiefs? The Rams too?
Yep.
And the Ravens. So you're going Commanders, Eagles, Bengals as wins.
Yep.
Okay. I need to make sure that my numbers are right here, but I got us winning at home every game. Now, this is the way too early, right? So
Oh, yeah, it's way too early.
it's
We don't
8.
even know when they're playing.
Yeah, that's going to be that's why we're doing it now, because we'll revise this when the schedule comes out and see what changes our mind, because if they're playing late in the season outdoors, I know a lot of people think Jared Goff can't play well in outdoors, but you know what he can do really well? Hand the football off. That's what he can do really well.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about week 18 in the frozen tundra. Was a terrible football game for weather and did just fine. So I'm going to say that we're going to win against the Bears without a doubt. I think that we're going to take an L against the Packers because I'm expecting that's going to be a late game year or a late, year game, and that's the only divisional game I have us losing. The Vikings, I think, will win. I don't think the Vikings are going to have that great of a season. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy is going to have a great rookie season. The Commanders, we will get redemption with. I don't think the Eagles are going to be as good of an offense. I think they're going to be a stellar defense, and I think that we eke out a close win there. The Bengals, they've been on the up and up, right? They're not so much up and comers anymore, as I think that Joe Burrow last year proved that he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I still think the Lions take him down. For some reason, we just can't get past the Ravens. Just can't do it. So I've got us losing to the Ravens. And even though that I don't believe the Chiefs are going to be a great football team this year, I said the same thing last year and they shocked the heck out of me. I will give us an L there. And then the Rams, we have to win because that's going to be our home opener, right? Did I put that as our home opener? I can't remember now. Yeah. Opener. I have the Lions at the Rams. So that's going to be our week 1 opener. Our home opener, you have Bears at Lions. I have Cowboys. There's no way we lose those games. So that puts me at 14-3, right? So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That puts me at 14-3. That puts you at 13-4.
So
Was it?
your 3 losses are who?
My 3 losses are the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Packers away. Those are all away. We win everything at home. So we're only different on the Rams and the Packers.
Yep.
Now, I know that you'll never pick a Packers loss, so that's easy for me to differentiate from you.
That ain't happening.
And like, I don't think that we should lose to the Packers, but look, they had a pretty good draft. And I think their team is just getting better and better and better. I think Jordan Love is getting better and better, but that doesn't mean that I have a ton of respect for him. It's just I can't realistically say that the Lions are going to go 17-0. You know what I mean? And I think that 14-3 is a great place to be. I think 13-4 is a great place to be. I think that 14-3 wins the 1 seed. I think 13-4 doesn't. And see, last year you had 15-2, right? And I had 14-3.
Yeah.
And so you got the 1 seed. I had us. We would have lost the NFC North crown, and we wouldn't have gotten the 1 seed had they been 14-3 last year.
Yeah.
So all right,
Well,
now,
it depends on the loss. Depends on which loss it was. If it was a loss to the Vikings, then we would not have gotten it. But if we would have lost to basically anybody else, we still would have got it.
yeah, it's hard. Like Brandy Coffee says, I cannot even type we are going to lose to anyone. We will get 17-0 and then win the Super Bowl. Randy, I hope you're right. And you should probably go bet it anyway, just for the hell of it. I wonder what the odds would be on something like that.
Yeah.
If they're high, throw $10 on it, you know? Okay. What's next is my mouse is wandering. I love it. Just wandering. Oh my God. Whatever. Come on back to reality.
Finally got my email and my phone call from the Lions this morning while we're on here. So I get to call them when I get off the phone.
So the Lions do have the 3rd toughest schedule for 2025. I don't remember where we started last year. I think that everyone last year said that we had a really tough schedule. And I know that we had 8 games last year that were from former playoff teams from the previous year, right? 2 of those games obviously were from 1 team. And that team escapes me right now. So we legit had 7 games last year against playoff teams from the year prior. This year's no different.
Yeah,
It's just as bad.
So we have the Bears that did not make the playoffs, the Bengals that did not make the playoffs, the Cowboys that did not make the playoffs, and the Browns. I think we have 4 teams that we play this year that did not make the playoffs.
So 4 teams, and of those, you said the Packers didn't make the playoffs?
No. The Bears,
Yeah.
Bengals,
Yep.
the Cowboys,
Mhm.
and the Browns.
So that's 4 teams. That'll be 5 games.
Yep. Out of
So,
our
so 12 out of 17 games are against playoff teams.
teams. Exactly.
Good Lord. Well, last year we had 8 and we went 15-2. So if you do a quick math calculation, now we've improved that to 8-12. Split the baby. That's 2 losses. That goes from 15-2 down to 13-4.
Yep. That's why I did it.
You're a liar. You didn't do all that math. You're so full of shit, Eric.
Sounded good though.
Yeah, it did for a minute. God. All right, let's get into this 53-man roster.
Here we go.
Let's get jamming on it. Goodness gracious. I got 2 YouTubes open. No wonder why. Okay. Last year we kept 2 quarterbacks.
Yep.
Right now, the depth chart says Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, Kyle Allen. Who do you have for quarterbacks?
Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker. That's it.
You don't think that we keep 3?
No, Kyle Allen, he may go to the practice squad. He'd just be we needed a camp body. We needed someone to, and they might pick up somebody else. But as of right now, they did not pick up a UDFA. And I think these 3 guys are it for camp. And once we get to the season, though, I think it's just going to be 2 Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, Kyle Allen on the practice squad.
Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen?
No, Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, and then
Yep.
Kyle Allen to the practice squad.
All right, I agree with that. Running backs. So last year we kept 4. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki. The depth chart right now is Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki, Kyle Robichaud, and Anthony Tyus. Both of those, the last 2 are UDFAs. What am I missing here? I could have sworn we had brought in more players than that. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki, Kyle Robichaud, Anthony Tyus. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 6 currently. Who we kept 4 last year. Who are your
I say we keep 4 again. Gibbs, Monty, Reynolds, and Vaki. I think that's who we keep.
Okay, I would agree with that. Depending for right now, I agree with that. I think that we're gonna watch Kyle Robichaud potentially beat out Craig Reynolds. Sione Vaki's a lock. He's my number 3. Craig Reynolds is my number 4. I like Kyle Robichaud, and I just can't wait to see what he does as a UDFA. A UDFA seems to always make this Lions roster. And right now, like I said, he's my dark horse to do it. So until we see what happens, I have to go with the top 4. Craig Reynolds is in that top 4. Wide receivers. So last season, now remember last year we had a weird year because we only kept 4 wide receivers. We always keep 5. Lions always keep 5, no less than 5. In the suspension year for JMO, they had 6. So the reason why there's only 4 here, I think had a lot to do with guys that were going to end up on IR, and the Lions had to make some decisions with guys going to IR, and I think it screwed up the roster at the very beginning of cut day. So last year, they only kept 4. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Khalif Raymond, Isaiah Williams. On the depth chart is Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, Isaac Tesla, Dominic Lovett, Tom Kennedy, Ronnie Bell, Jackson Meeks as a UDFA, Jacoby Keeney James as a UDFA. The Lions spent $200,000 on Jackson Meeks. They kept 4 last year. I think they'll keep no less than 5. Let's go with 5, or however many you think. Who are your receivers?
Well, I think we're going to keep Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Tim Patrick, no matter what. Now, I also think that we're going to keep Isaac Tesla, and that would make 4 right there. So now it's a decision between Khalif Raymond, Dominic Lovett, and Jackson Meeks for me. We're going to have to see who can pull it out of their butt in training camp. And if Jackson Meeks or Dominic Lovett end up being that younger, faster Khalif Raymond, that may spell the end for Khalif Raymond because these guys would be cheaper, younger, and if they can return kicks and do all the stuff that Khalif Raymond did. But you got to remember, just a year ago, Khalif Raymond, wasn't he a Pro Bowler for special teams? So I
I
don't know.
thought he
It's going
was
to be
I thought he was all pro,
all
second
pro.
team.
Yeah. That's what it was. And he was the special teams player of the month against the Titans there, and he had one of the best games ever against the Titans as a kick returner. And then he got hurt. So having someone that could possibly be a backup to Khalif Raymond would be great. But for now, I'm going to stick with my top 5: Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, and Isaac Tesla. And then I'm going to put Dominic Lovett on the practice squad. And I'm probably going to do the same thing with Jackson Meeks.
Okay.
Need a little more seasoning.
So Jackson Meeks is coming in at 6'2" and 210 pounds. So he's got prototypical X receiver size. I don't remember how fast he is.
And Brad talks all the time about how he's such a great evaluator of cornerbacks, and corners are his favorite to do. But I think he's better at picking wide receivers than any position. I think he is just a wizard at picking wide receivers in the draft.
So far, I'd say that's true. But I think he's done very well with Terry and Arnold and the guys that he's brought in not only free agency but also in the draft. I think his free agency picks have been stellar. I mean, nobody gave Carlton Davis the time of day. I mean, even my first video on Carlton Davis, I was like, yeah, this dude misses 23% of, snaps as a starter, and he did again last year. But his play was incredible.
Yeah.
And I think that he's done incredibly good at picking these guys. So for me, Jackson Meeks, yeah, it's going to be tough for him to make the roster. He might stick around as a UDFA, or he might stick around as a practice squad guy. The problem is, I don't think you can protect these guys. You've invested $200,000 to them to show up at camp, and maybe they do some roster gymnastics with some of the veterans to say, hey, we want you on the team. We're going to put you down for a moment. Don't sign with anybody. We'll have you come back to the vet squad, but we got to keep these rookies to get them on the practice squad. And then I think you can protect them once they're on the practice squad. I think you can protect up to 6, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, and then if someone wants to poach him off your practice squad, you have to put him up to the 53-man roster if you want to keep another team from taking him.
Which then again, if you have handshake deals with some vets, right? It's okay. I'm going to put down a vet, and then I'm going to put this guy up, but you got to leave him up for 3 weeks.
Yep.
I don't see a Jackson Meeks right now being better than Tim Patrick, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. However, if you have some injuries, well, then there's your answer. But Jacoby Keeney James, as a UDFA, had a really good pro day for UMass. He hit like a 4.3 40. I think this kid's like small though, like Khalif Raymond size,
5'8" or something.
Yeah. This is the direct replacement for Khalif Raymond, in my opinion.
I had the names mixed up. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I like Jacoby Keeney James being, the direct replacement for Khalif. I just don't know that, the level of grit, if you will, is there for Jacoby. But I love to see him end up, on the practice squad. Ronnie Bell's going to have an uphill battle. Tom Kennedy, I don't think he's going to be on any roster this year for the Lions, finally.
Yeah.
So Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Isaac Tesla, they all make the squad. The fight is, and Khalif Raymond, I think that he's going to make the squad, at least right now. So that's 5. Do the Lions take 7 to the 53? I don't know. I think that they're going to want to spend a little bit more roster space on defensive line because that's where we're extremely deep. Dominic Lovett, even though he is a draft pick, he's going to have to beat out Khalif Raymond or Tim Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be tough to do. Lions keep 6. I'm putting Dominic Levitt on the roster for right now, so they keep 6. And you had how many again?
I had 5.
Which is Amon-Ra, Jameson, Tim Patrick, Khalif, and Isaac.
Yep. Top
Okay.
5. And then I said Dominic Lovett and Jackson Meeks go to the old practice squad. If we can slip them through.
All right. So last year, the Lions kept 3 tight ends. This year, we have 6 currently. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Shane Zielstra, Kenny Yaboa, Caden Priestcorn, and Zach Horton as UDFAs, the last 2. Who's on your roster?
I'm going to say that we're going to keep, I want to say 4. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. This may be the year that Shane Zylstra does not make the team. I think they're going to stick with Kenny Yaboa. And then I think there's going to be a dark horse here, and that's Zach Horton. I think he may end up being my guy that is a UDFA that actually cracks this roster.
Okay, so how many do you have?
4.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So Sam Laporta, lock. Brock Wright, a lock unless he's traded. I'm not going to hold out on that he could potentially be traded if one of these younger guys, looks to be the part. I also said very early in the season that Shane Zielstra's gone unless he makes the practice squad. He had a tough time last year. I do like Kenny Yaboa. There's a reason why we brought him in. So I'm sticking with 3. Eric has 4. And who was your dark horse?
Zach Horton was my dark horse.
Horton, here's a who, huh?
Yeah, because there was a whole thing about grit and how he is a Dan Campbell player that I did the other day for one of our topics. We just never got to it, and he's a total beast. He's a Dan Campbell kind of guy.
So I've never seen this from the Lions before, but offensive line, holy cow. Really, we have 17 guys. 17 on this 90-man roster right now. I've never seen this many offensive linemen on any roster this early. So it's a long list, man.
Yeah.
Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Christian Mahogany, Penei Sewell. Any of those not making the roster?
No, they're all making it.
Dan Skipper, Coyote Owasika, Michael Neese, Tate Ratledge, Colby Sorsdahl.
Skipper and Ratledge make it.
Skippy and Ratledge. Giovanni Manu, Nadi Moody, Kingsley Eguakan, Miles Frazier, Jamarco Jones.
I'm going to say Giovanni Manu, Miles Frazier both make it, and Jamarco Jones might. Yeah, he might be your swing. Oh, maybe, or he might be a veteran on the practice squad. That's
we're talking roster right now. So is he on or is he off?
He's off right now.
Okay,
but that would be my one where I kind of teeter totter.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last year we kept 10.
Okay,
you're at 9, but you've also kept an extra tight end.
Yeah, but I kept one less on running backs.
Running backs.
I stuck with 4.
Where is running backs? Maybe I didn't put that on the list yet.
Yeah, because according to this list, I went a little different.
Okay, so how many are you doing? Who are you adding?
I'll put Jamarco Jones back on there, so make him my 10th.
Okay, reserves, UDFAs, offensive tackle Mason Miller, and center Leaf Fautanu.
Nope.
Not making it. No?
Nah.
Okay. So for me, obviously Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Christian Mahogany, Penei Sewell currently are all on the roster. Maybe there becomes a trade. Look, if Tate Ratledge, who I expect to win a starting role at right guard, now that puts the onus on Graham Glasgow to win a spot against Christian Mahogany. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I think that Giovanni Manu is getting a shot at left tackle, or I'm sorry, at left guard.
Yep.
And it's going to be a 12-round battle between these guys. And I'm going to put the edge to Manu because of his size. But I would say overall, I'm going to give the edge to Mahogany because he's had playing experience. If he comes in this year ready to rock and roll, I would expect Mahogany's probably going to win a spot. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see Manu get in the game, though, and be utilized in certain situations. Love to see him in goal line. I would love to see him line up as an H-back. I think that he's an absolute road grader, and this is going to be a year that they have to use him. So for me, it's those five are on. I think Dan Skipper, like, he's only made the roster once. I think Owasika's gone. We don't really have a backup tack or center other than Graham Glasgow. So it's going to be really hard to keep. If you keep Glasgow, then you don't have to keep Kingsley. You don't have to keep, who's the other guy? Michael Neese. You wouldn't have to keep those guys if Graham Glasgow is going to stick around. And I think that Graham will stick around just because of that he is going to be our backup center. You're going to need him on the roster. So Kobe Sorsdahl, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're either on the practice squad or gone. That's why you made the thumbnail today. I think that this is the last year for Kobe. He just hasn't worked out. The reserves, I'm going to agree with you. The UDFAs, they don't really have a shot this year. They might make practice squad. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tate Rowledge is 6. Giovanni Manu is 7. Miles Frazier is 8. I really did like Jamarco Jones last year. He has a ton of veteran experience. He would be number 9 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is the swing tackle, Dan Skipper, or sticking with 9. I think that this offensive line is extremely deep and good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's either between Jamarco Jones and Dan Skipper. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 10 right now, and I want to drop it to 9. So it's between Jamarco Jones and Dan Skipper. Jamarco Jones, for me, not making it.
Yeah. We had one different. I wonder who it was.
Jamarco Jones.
Yeah, but I had 9 as well.
No, you had more than that. You had 10.
Did I do 10? Okay.
Yeah, you had Decker, Glasgow, Ragnow, Mahogany, Sewell, Skipper, Ratledge, Manu, Frazier, and Jones.
Okay.
That's 10. So I'm going to go 9. So even though we had 10 last year, I'm going to go 9 this year, and I'm just going to hope that some of these guys are going to end up on the practice squad. The biggest thing for me is I think that you can go down to 9 given the fact of the quality that we now have. We have extremely good quality. I mean, Frazier, Manu, and Mahogany are some of the best backups you're going to find. And Dan Skipper's been around for a long time, has a ton of experience. All right, running backs. We already did running backs, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, we did running backs already.
Interior defensive lineman would be next.
Yep, interior defensive lineman. So last year, allergies are crazy again today, man.
Oh, I hear you.
It's like I got this crap in my throat. All right, where is it? Why am I not finding this on the list from last year? Linebackers. All right, here we go. D-line. Lions kept 9. Now, there is obviously an issue with injuries in IR.
Yep.
So, D-line.
I'm going to keep everybody.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Remember, this included our edge and defensive tackles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you've got Aiden, Davenport, Reeder, McNeil, Onzarike, Pascal, Wingo, John Kaminsky, and Houston all kept on the D-line. And that was 2024, as of August 27, 2024. Ukwu, Pecco, Matthew Betts, Chris Smith, Pat O'Connor, all waived or missing cuts. Injured reserve was Martin. Waived injured was David Bada. But yes, I'll also remember that Kaminsky was kept on the D line and never played because he was sent to IR right after that. I think the Lions would have probably kept more if they could have, but they had to do some weird roster gymnastics. So they kept 9. Now let's go back and look at interior D line. You have a deep roster with 9 already. Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Roy Lopez, Mekhi Wingo, Pat Connor, Miles Adams, Broderick Martin, Chris Smith. I mean, what a crazy good defensive line problem to have. Ali McNeil is going to be on IR. Okay, so we don't have to count him right now.
Yeah.
He's not going to count against the roster. DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Roy Lopez. Tell me who you're keeping out of all these guys. Mekhi Wingo, Pat O'Connor.
So how many did we keep last year?
A total of 9 between all defensive linemen.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Between edge and defensive line?
Correct.
And we have 19 this year.
To start.
And we kept 9. Well, to start, I'm going to say Ali McNeil's going to be on IR. And then we're going to keep DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Roy Lopez, and if he's healthy enough, Mekhi Wingo. Otherwise, I'll go with Pat O'Connor.
You know, I don't have an update on Wingo.
Because he got hurt pretty late in the season.
I don't even remember what his injury was at this point.
Ankle, knee, something like that.
He had a season-ending knee injury. And that was against Chicago. So was that Thanksgiving? I think it was.
Yep.
On January 31st. I'll have to come back to that. I'm expecting Wingo probably to miss some time, but for right now, I'm just going to keep him in. So Reader, Williams, Lopez, Wingo, Connor, Adams, Martin, Smith. How many are you keeping?
Man. So you have to have 4
At a minimum. Yep.
at a minimum. So that would, for me, would be Reader, Williams, Lopez, Wingo if he's healthy enough. Otherwise, Pat O'Connor and possibly Broderick Martin. So let me see. I'll go Reader, Williams, Lopez, Wingo, and Broderick Martin.
Okay, so you're keeping 5.
Yep, 5. With Aleem going to IR.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, but I'm going to go Reader, Williams, Lopez, Wingo, again, assuming he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to go Broderick Martin right now. I think that Miles Adams is a better football player. I don't think that he has the size that Martin does. And if Martin has formed his body again, and he's actually taken it responsibly over the offseason, well, the entire season, because he didn't play really, then I'm expecting him to have a big impact. He knows that he's got an uphill battle this year. It's going to be hard to stick to this roster. I'm going to go with the same 5. Pat O'Connor, Miles Adams, and Chris Smith. Those are going to be really hard cuts. Really, really, really hard cuts. Maybe they come back on practice squad. Maybe they don't. Remember, Pat O'Connor's got like 9 years. Miles Adams has like 5 years of experience. So, all right. Then edge, we have 10 currently.
Yeah. And we got to whittle this down to 4.
Well, for you, this is exactly why I did what I did earlier. I think we're going to keep more this year than we did last year.
Okay.
So, who are you taking? You got Aiden, Marcus Davenport, Levi, Josh Pascal, El-Qadim Muhammad, Ahmad Hassanin, Nate Lynn, Agudi Ukwu, and a UDFA Keith Cooper Jr.
So I'm going to have to keep 5 here. It's going to be Aiden, Davenport, Levi, Pascal, and Ahmad Hassanin.
Okay.
I'll make a cut somewhere else if I have to. I think they were too light on the edge position last year, and they learned their lesson.
So the funny thing is Josh Pascal is supposed to be back on the interior, or at least back, on the defensive tackle side. I think he's more of an edge. I think he's the hybrid football player that can do both. He can go interior and exterior, and even Brad Holmes kind of said that this year, that he's going to be able to go back now to the interior. Look, our defensive line is stacked. I don't know why, people are calling out Brad and saying all the crap that they are. People, just look at these names and then go back and look at their production and what they've been able to do. All right. And production is not sacks. It's the overall of how they play. All these guys are pretty good. So Marcus Davenport, I think he makes the roster right now. I think that he's hopefully going to take things more responsibly this year. And it's not that he did last year or didn't last year. He just freak injury, that I still feel is intentional. Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, those are locks for me. Hassanin right now is a lock for me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And El-Quadin Muhammad is a lock for me. Josh Pascal is inside, outside. Levi Onwuzurike is more inside. Davenport, obviously outside. Aiden, he can do both. I like the progression last year of El-Quadin Muhammad. Tough cuts with Nate Lynn, Agood, and Ukwu, but those guys should be back on the practice squad. So you kept 4, right?
5.
5. Yeah, you kept Hutch, Davenport, Onwuzurike, Pascal, and Hassanin.
Yep.
And I added a 6 with Muhammad. All right, DBs. Right, that's who's next, right? No, linebacker, excuse me.
Linebackers, yeah. So you got Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, and then you have Malcolm Rodriguez, who is hurt. You got Grant Stewart, Trevor Nowaski, Anthony Pittman, Ezekiel Turner, Bo Plon, and Gilbert. How many did we keep last year? 4?
1 sec here, I'll check. 6.
6. Wow. I don't think we go all the way to 6. So here's where I'm going to cut one. I'm going to go down to 5. I'm going to go Jack Campbell, Anzalone, Barnes, Rodriguez, and Stewart.
All right, so that was Campbell, Anzalone, Barnes, Rodriguez, and Stewart.
Yep.
Okay. So that's Eric going with 5. We kept 6 last year. I agree with those 5. Malcolm is possibly going to be on IR, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you really only have 4 now.
That's what I said. I don't know about him, but if I had to pick another one, it would be Anthony Pittman.
Pittman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him or Nowatzki. One of the either.
So you've got to pick one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say neither right now.
Neither. Does anyone have an update on Rodrigo? See, I don't have an update on him either. I probably should have looked. He had an ACL, and that was also in November.
Yeah.
And these are at least 6 to 9 month recovery, and I'm going to teeter towards 9 month. That would put him, even if it was 8 months, that would put him in July, potentially able to do training camp. I think that he's not going to be ready.
Okay.
Same thing with Wingo. I don't think Wingo is going to be ready either.
All right. So then I'll say Anthony Pittman.
Pittman.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping that he's ready, but let's just say you stash those guys on IR because you have a reason to, and you can, then that gives you some flexibility in your roster. you know, you can. I think that they won that new rule, right, where they could stash a couple extra guys before 53.
Yeah.
That will help.
Yeah.
That will help. So I'm gonna go Campbell as my Mike, Anzalone as my Will. My Mike is not behaving. And Derek Barnes is my Sam. I'm gonna do Grant Stewart as my backup at the Will. I'm gonna do Trevor Nowaski as my backup Sam and Mike. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will also do Anthony Pittman as my backup Mike and Sam. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and putting Rodriguez to IR. And then you had Campbell, Anzalone, Barnes, Stewart, and Pittman.
Yep.
So you still stuck with 5.
Yep.
Okay. Next up,
Corners.
DBs. Last year we kept 11.
11 D. Oh, that's between safety and cornerback.
Yeah, and right now we have 15.
So let's go Terry and Arnold, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson, and Ennis Rakestraw. And then backups.
So you had Arnold, Reed, Robertson, Rakestraw.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said how many did we keep between the two?
11.
11. Okay, so I can go 5 and 6. So 1, 2. So I think we're going to go Terry and Arnold, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Avante Maddox, and Rockison.
Okay, so that's 6 cornerbacks.
Yep. And then safeties, I'm going to go 5 of them. So I'm going to go Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Dan Jackson. Not much to choose from here. Lauren Strickland and Morris Norris.
Okay, so that's 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just agree with the safeties. Last year, the Lions kept Strickland, Joseph, Strickland, Joseph, Branch, hold the phone here. Kirby, Strickland, Brandon Joseph, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. That's 5. Last year they kept 5 safeties.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm good with that. DBs or cornerbacks. I got Terry Arnold, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Avante Maddox. That's 5. And Khalil Dorsey, I don't see him, like, he's got a big uphill battle just like Aiden Hutchinson does.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be between Rock Ya-Sin and Stanley Thomas Oliver. I'm going to go with Rock Ya-Sin too. So I'm going to go 6 there.
Mm-hmm.
Special teams is obviously, pretty simple here.
Yep. That's Jack Fox, your punter, Jake Bates, your kicker, and Hogan Hatton, your long snapper.
Yeah, pretty simple. I think we're keeping all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add them up. It's 3. I'm going to add yours up. So that's 3, 6. No, I'm sorry. That's 5. 3, that's 8. 6 is 14. 5 is 19. 5 is 24. And 5 is 29. So you have defense 29, offense, let's count them up. You have offensive line, you have 10. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 4 tight ends, that's 14. You have 5 receivers, so that's 19. Running backs, who did you keep again?
4, just the 4 from last year. Then quarterback, just 2. And Mr. Thomas, this pup list we talk about is physically unable to perform list. Means they are a no-go. And I believe when you start the season on the pup list, you have to be out at least 4 weeks now.
I thought it was 8.
It used to be. It used to be really long.
Okay, so you have 2. We both had 2 quarterbacks. So 2 running backs, 6 receivers. You had 5. That's 11. Tight ends. You had 4. That's 15. 10. Offensive line. So that's 25. So you had 25 on offense.
That still puts me 1 over.
Yeah, and then special, obviously 3. Or I'm just going to go teams. You had 3. So that's 20, 40, 50, 20, 40, 54. That's 58.
What? I'd have to redo it again.
Maybe my math is off. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, so you had 5 safeties. You had 3 on special teams. That's 8. You had 6 corners. That's 14. You had 5 linebackers. So that's 19. You had 5 edge. That's 24. And 5 D line. That's 29.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got to trim some fat, a whole bunch.
So I'm sorry, you had 54, you had 57. And then on the offensive side of the football, you had 10 offensive line, 4 tight ends, that's 14. 5, that's 19 for wide receivers. 4 running backs, that's 23. Quarterbacks, 2, that's 25. So my math isn't wrong. So 29, 25, and 3. That's 57. So yeah, you've got to trim 3. Let's see where I'm at. So I had 5. 3 is 8. 6 is 14. 6 is 20. 6 is 26. 5 is 31. Yeah, I'm going to be way over.
I found it easy to fix mine. Drop Zach Horton as a tight end. Craig Reynolds is gone.
I don't know how we went over. So on quarterbacks, I had 2. Running backs, I had 4. That's 6. Wide receivers, I had 6. That's 12. Tight ends, I had 3. That's 15. Offensive line, I had 9. So that's 24.
Oh, somebody said you added special teams in twice.
No.
Yeah, because you did it with safeties and then you did it on offense, I think.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
So there we go.
Oh, yeah. I put, for some reason, I have safeties above. Or I have teams above safeties. So that could be the problem. I don't know how I did that. Good catch. So let me just do this again. Defense. Safeties. You had 5. Corners. You had 6. That's 11. Linebackers. 5. That's 16. Edge. 5, that's 21. D line, 5, that's 26. That makes more sense. So that's still 26 and 25 is 51, and teams is 3 is 54. So you're just one over.
Okay. I'll take Jacoby Jones off.
Jones?
Yeah.
See you, Jones. So that drops you down to 9. Okay, now let's run mine through. So 2, 4, 6. 6 receivers is 12. 3 tight ends is 15. Offensive line is 9. That's 24. Yep. Defense. 5 for D line. 6 for edge is 11. 6 for linebackers, 17. 6 for corners, 23. 5 for safety is 28. And then teams for 3. So that's 52. It's 55. 55. I'm heavy on defense. I'm heavy on defense. Lauren, Brandon, Iffy, Kirby, Brian, that's 5. DBs. I hate to lose a linebacker. I don't see us not keeping 6 unless somehow we can get, someone to stick to the practice squad. I think that you want to have a backup, and you probably roll with 5 on game day, I would assume. Don't know what's going to happen with Rodrigo. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only had 5 anyway. Because I had Malcolm on IR, and I had Nowoski, you had Pittman.
Yep.
So there's 1 less. I got 1 more to go. Man, it's going to be really tough to not keep 6 edge. Man, it's going to be tough.
You might have to let Muhammad go just like I did.
I might have to, but let me look at one other thing. I don't think that we walk away from Broderick Martin just yet. Got to wait and see what he does. We're definitely not keeping less than 9 on the offensive line. I could probably trim a receiver down, but that means it's either Tim Patrick or Khalif Raymond that are gone, or otherwise Dominic Lovett makes the practice squad. And that would be the first draft pick for Brad Holmes, I think, not making the team in 5 drafts. I don't think we've had a draft pick not make the team.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to trim down a receiver. For now, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Tim Patrick, Isaac Tesla. I think that maybe Khalif Raymond could be odd man out. I know they love the dude. But this is the last year of his contract, too. I don't think that they're going to walk away from Tim Patrick unless Isaac Tesla just,
lights it up.
Yeah. So that's 24 and 24. It's 48. Wait a second. Hold on. 24 and 27. That's 51.
Plus your 3.
Hold on. 23. So I have 23 on offense, 27 on defense, 3 on teams. That's 53.
Yep.
And why do I still show that you have 26 on defense, 25 on offense, and 3 on teams, which would still put you 1 over? Either way, I'll look at it later. I think we did a pretty good job. It's going to be tough, man. And so, again, I think that this is exactly why when you look at why the Lions did what they did in this draft, there was no way that we could not take a defensive tackle, right? Are you frozen?
Yeah, it has been for a while. That camera quit on me again. I'm about to figure out why it's not charging.
Yeah, you might want to call OBSBot on that.
Yeah, well, I got another one. I'll just swap it out today.
Yeah, but it's under warranty. So anyway, it's exactly why Brad did what he did for this roster, because there was no way that we were possibly gonna add another edge that could make this team. You could have early, right? You could have added one early, but then you wouldn't have been able to fill that hole and that need for Ali McNeil. So I think it was the right way to go. I really do. And now, like in the chat, people wanting Z to come back. Well, if he comes back, who do we lose, right? Who do we lose? And it's got to be a vet that you can stick on the vet squad that can stick around. So final 30 to you, Eric, and let's get out of here.
This is a great little thing to do. It's way too early trying to predict some schedule, trying to predict the 53-man roster. And I'm sure we're going to do this a bunch of times, but, and predicting the win-loss, this is incredibly early. We haven't even had these kids into a rookie minicamp yet, and that starts tomorrow.
Yeah, so there's a question in the chat that said, who would be returning punts? Well, right now, on both of our rosters, it's still Khalif Raymond. And if I remember correctly, I mean, goodness, if Jacoby Keeney James can beat out Khalif Raymond, he could be the returner. He's got blazing speed. He's like the same size. He could do it. Dominic Lovett, I don't know enough about him yet to know if he can return punts or kicks. I'll look at that today. That'll be my homework for the day. Is I'm going to brush up on the receiver. I'm going to brush up on all the offense today and kind of dive in a little bit so I can get a little bit more educated on, who's on this 90-man roster and figure out exactly where they could end up. Tomorrow's Friday, right?
Yep.
You don't have any classes tonight, right? Or
yes, I do. So I won't be here tomorrow.
Okay. All right. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Hopefully you enjoyed the little exercise here at the end, going through the 53-man roster, and do it on your own. Take some time to go through it. I think it'll help you understand just how difficult it is on a GM. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
See you.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Ayo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.